get recorded. Okay, and then I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Oh, Tulja part is second standard. That's gonna be very tough, Tulja, to understand what is we are talking about. Okay. So, okay, now you guys can see my screen, but I can forget about that screen. Let's talk about what you guys remember we have learned. So I can type it on my screen what topic we have covered, and we will just go a little bit to revise today, and that's the way we will start today. Let me. So let's see what things you guys remember we covered with the Python. So that will be a good revision for the kids who are just joining. Okay, Mansi, Aditi, let's start. What we have covered till this point, what we learn in a Python. You guys have to be quick, man. Mansi, what did we learn? I think, or Shlok. Not last lecture, I'm talking about just in general Python. What did we learn? Just basic, I will say, oh, we started with a print statement. So then give me the topics we covered. So, okay, what we learned? We learned print statement. You guys remember print statement? Right, so I'm just gonna, I want to write the topic so you guys need to remember, right? And not to you, Tilya, you just attended once, and not just for you, but I think for others, like Vansi and Aditi are attending all the lectures, or Shlok. So what did we learn? One, just if I say print, what are the other things? You guys start typing one by one. Shlok. Are you guys paying attention? Yeah. So type what you on the chat window. What else we run on? I'm gonna stop talking till I get something from you guys. Otherwise, we are just gonna go. Okay, there you go. I'm just gonna, whatever you guys type, I'm gonna just put it here. So that will at least remind some of the kids that, oh, we learned these things. I'm waiting. No, there wasn't anything. See, this is what I want to know. So yeah, something you type and yeah, I can tell you, oh, that wasn't the case. So we kind of, there is a no true and false statement. If and else, we are checking the conditions if the condition is a true or a false. So that Deepika, make sure you understand what we talk, right? So that's good. Have you guys start talking? Okay, so now he's saying function. Okay. Then this is what I want you guys to do. Yeah. In last lecture, we learned minimum and maximum. So this is what good. Okay, let's keep talking. I want you guys to take still more. Okay, I don't just go on a last lecture. I think last lecture is not much of the interest to me, but rest, I think what is really we learn in a Python. So That's it. We covered 16 or 13 lectures, and we just got 5 items there. There you go, Shlok. I think is Shlok is the only one paying attention. Yeah, other kids, I think I need to. Prathamesh, nothing coming out from you. Keep keep chatting out more. The list, what we have. Actually, एक गोष्ट सांगितली हो लिस्ट म्हणाला जेव्हा श्लोक the list बरोबर you should be listing 10 different things. There you go. That's good way, Deepika. What else? Yeah, notes घ्यायला लागा मुलांनो. Notes घेतले असतात तर just turning the pages would have got you all list what we learned. I'm gonna wait till you guys keep telling me more things. What else? There you go. File and file. I'm just gonna put it in a more proper wording. Files and files handling functions. What else? See, तुम्हाला खूपशा गोष्टी लक्षात असतील तर या तुम्ही you have to remind yourself. What else? I'm gonna wait some more time till you guys find something else. श्लोक फाईल झालंय सगळ्यांचं लिहून. Something more. Is that all we learn? Hey, quiz. Okay, that quiz is not what we did. I am not looking for the class headings. I'm looking for the topics or functionality what we learn in Python. A lot of things we learn. So if I just ask you, okay, the sprint, the sprint is a statement or a function. What sprint does? No, Anushka, no HTML classes. Because अनुष्का HTML साठी खूपच कमी मुलं 1-2 मुलंच असायची त्यामुळे HTML चे क्लासेस नसतील त्यामुळे तेच मला वाटतं की तुला सांगितलं नसेल त्यामुळे इट इज गोना बी सेकंड ग्रेड मध्ये आहेस राईट तर त्यामुळे इट इज गोना बी हार्ड त्यामुळे इट्स ओके इफ यू डोंट अटेंड दिस क्लास. Or yeah, I don't know, Anisha, if you are in second grade or 8th grade, but okay. We will go for this quiz, but I want a topic. So, okay, let's continue. Not daily. Okay, so Anushka, you can continue attending and should. So, what this print statement does? What is this print statement gonna do? Once quick. I think we went over this so many times. Someone need to type. What is it? with the print statement. Print whatever you want. Okay, print is output statement, right? It's printed. What is there? Then how we take the input from a user? And then who is going to tell me that we learn about that? Do you see input in this list? What I am sharing? Yeah, I'm sharing. Can you guys see it or not? First thing, my screen, what I'm sharing. Can you guys see my screen? What I'm sharing? Deepika, is माझी स्क्रीनवर मी शेअर करतो. येस राईट. तर मग देन इनपुट स्टेटमेंट कोण लिहिणार तिथे? टॉपिक मध्ये नाहीये. इनपुट स्टेटमेंट सगळ्यांना आठवतं की नाही? But then you guys need to tell it, okay? So I'm gonna show just what topics we have covered till this, right? So you can see if I go back, we said lesson 1, variables and types. You can take a note of whatever you want. Yeah. So you can see on my screen here what we learned, variables and data types. Nobody want to talk about or mention or forgetting everything. Then user input and arithmetic operators, if else statement, then we learn debugging part, which you guys, okay. Nobody talked about for loop. Do you guys remember or no? Deepika, do you remember for loop? Nobody talked about the for loop. While loop. String and splitting of strings. Then we learn about function. Somebody mentioned the function. File handling, yeah, someone mentioned the file handling here. Then we did a quiz, more file handling, and last week we were trying to learn about libraries and modules. So it looks like you guys are not at all remembering anything. Anushka, there is a class fully dedicated for this for loop, while loop. We won't be covering that in as it is. You can go and look at those videos. This kind, Mansi, I think the explanation you guys copying from Google is not what we are looking for. Okay. To me, Google what this statement, the description that is not important. What you learn or what you understand is more important. Can you be able to tell me that same thing anytime? तुझं understanding जे आहे that is more important. So usually give your understanding, not from a Google search or Wikipedia. So anyway, I don't see you guys remembering what we cover. That's kind of very sad. So anyway, I wanted to start today, on these two things. Maybe we should go look at the function and remember about the function. So that function can go back to our main topic of what we wanted to cover as the modules and libraries. So is anybody or everybody remembers about the functions, how the functions are defined, what function does? Yes, no. Okay, we will write a function. I'll go with writing, just copying this code and saying this is my function, right? So I actually gonna go start with the function and say it differently. So we talked about these things last week. So maybe let me create a new file, Python file, function test. So I have file name function test. And how do we define function? Going to type kara. How do we, I just showed you guys. How does that function do, right? And we are just going to print something, some string in a function. Function, how do you define function? Okay, so function you define, you said if Mansi or Deepika, you guys need to type quickly. If my function, then you have colon, right? And whatever you want to do in a function, suppose we print hello world, right? ORLD. So this is my function, right? Yes, Dheeraj, you guys can see my screen, right? So this is a function. So if I call this function, my function, then it's gonna print this, right? So let's execute this model test. No, where is, so you can see this is the output, right? So I'm calling, this is the place where I'm calling this my function. And then my function does what? Prints hello world. So that's what it is doing. So if I put another statement here, print this is second statement in my function, it's just gonna go print same two statement because I'm executing that function, right? So if I say this, you can see it prints both the statement which are in a function. So that's what work of the function, right? Okay, FUNCT. Okay, so you guys can see there are two statements in a function, and as you execute, that two are executing. I can call, this is, I'm calling the function one time, I can call two times, and then you will see those both statements repeating again and again, right? Let's do that and see. You can see, oh, this is done first time, and this is done second time when I call the function. So you guys understand at least this part? Oh, this is my function, and I'm doing something in a function. Correct? Only when I explain, Prathamesh, you guys say yes. But when I ask question, you guys don't at all type. So that doesn't give me understanding की तुम्हाला किती समजतं आणि किती नाही समजत. Tulja, I will answer your question, but तुला अजून, I think you just joined today, so there are a lot of things gonna be confusing or not understanding. But for others, Deepika, Prathamesh, you guys just say yes, yes, and when I ask question, you guys don't answer, and that doesn't tell me that you guys are really understanding or not. When I ask question, if you answer, that will tell me, oh, you guys understand or you guys don't understand. So answer the question, even if it is wrong, you answer, that's fine. I'm fine with you answering wrong, so I will go teach you again. So okay, going back on to Tulja's question, means it will print on paper? No, Tulja. We are just talking about the software and printing on the screen. So computer programs are always like whatever you do, mostly the output is screen. So when you say print or something, those are on the screen, and this is what you see, right? When I say print, whatever the text in that print statement, you can see it is printed on screen. Does that make sense? We are not printing on a paper. We are best printing on a screen. So this is, there is another function or another method, another statement, just like what we are saying, like, oh, there is another statement we were saying, input statement. So print prints on a screen. Input statement will take input from a user. There are same way, there are other statements like if, else, and there are so many for loops and other things, lot of other statements. Okay. So now you guys can know, right? Understand. I know we talk about it so many times and you guys don't at all make an effort to remember things. But let's say my function is a function where we call this function and it prints whatever in that function. Let's say, you understand, Anushka, what is it print statement doing? What is print statement doing? Now I think I explained you. No, I want you to type what print statement is doing. So that way I can give you the related answer for what is the difference between input and print. What is the print statement doing here? Your understanding. I don't want you to do Google and copy. Your understanding of print statement. Okay. It tells to print, right? So if I want to print something like what I should do, tell me now. If I want to print a number, something like 528, how I should print that? Tell me how I can print that. I just want your understanding. Okay, that's quick. Good. So if I want to print that, so just for your example, I will say here, instead of hello world 528, right? Let's see. What you are saying is we are want to print that 528. Yeah, you can see your 528 got printed, right? Because we have to put them in a quotes, they are not yet part of variables. So this is what printing does, right? So if you say input, if I say just if I use the same input is to take input, but input घेतल्यानंतर now we need to save that input in something. So which is then you need a variable, right? So usually my number म्हणून variable केला, and if you say input, then whatever user gonna enter, this is to take a user input. So we are gonna assign it to that. And now I'm gonna show you this other part. This is gonna be very new to you, Anushka or who? Anushka. Karan Baki, I think Mansi and Deepika and Prathamesh know these things. So here you can see if I do a definition input, I'm taking the input from a user and then printing that, right? So let's run this and quickly see what's happening. As I'm calling this function, you can see there is nothing it types. So it is expecting a number or enter something here, right? So if I type 674, enter, then this prints that number. I'm just going faster and maybe more confusing for you, uh, to you, Anushka, but that's the reason I think you will have to go look at the old videos rather than asking question, because if you ask question, I will try to answer and it will be more confusing. So maybe you look at those videos and make yourself uh, less confused. So anyway, let's go continue with function. What we were doing with the function is that call some code and it does the function, right? So if I say my function to add numbers, right? So if I have a function like this, we suppose if I have function which does add numbers, so I will say, here I have one number A and number. I'm gonna pass two variables to my function B, and this function is gonna do the addition and return me so let me see. This function is gonna do addition equal to A plus B. Oops. You can have this, and then if I say okay, and if I pass, so what you guys expect this thing will do? So if I have function which says that, my function to add number, and I'm passing two variables or two input to that, and I'm doing the addition and then printing that addition. So in this case, what it is gonna do, right? So let's run this and confirm what Deepika says is true or not, right? So it did printed this. I think if I put statement like something like this, addition of two numbers, you guys will insert this, you will have better idea of what it does. Okay, it doesn't like that way, huh? Okay, that's good. You guys can tell me how we can fix this one. It did, right, Deepika or Anushka? You cannot do this, right? Concatenate like this. It's always, you have to be like this. Addition of two numbers. Right, and then if you run it, you can see, addition of two numbers is, we pass these two numbers, so addition is that, right? That's the function we are doing. Yeah, so if I change the input. I said, oh, 67 and 34. What will be the output? I know it's bigger number I'm getting. So what will be the output of this program? Okay. Anushka, do you understand why Deepika is saying something? Shlok, Tulja Patil, what grade you are in? Because it's your first lecture. It's, you are gonna get confused. What is you are getting confused with, Anushka? This is we have a function which does addition of two numbers and we print that addition. We are passing variables or data to that function. And now when you call this function, it is gonna, let's debug it and confirm. Okay, this way you guys can understand. Understand means I think rest of the kids know. It's just Anushka, you are just joining today, and that's gonna cause little confusion. I mean, I think it will be too difficult for you to just catch up. So better you today. I mean, this is the weekend, right? So better you go and look at all previous videos. So let's debug to just make you clear a little bit. So I'm debugging this function, so you can see we are here, right? This debugging. So if I say go inside, step into this code. So the control is here. You can see the variable A is 67 and B is 34. Then next statement, it did addition of A and B, right? So that addition is 67 plus 34 is 101. So now what we are doing is the next statement is just printed the text, what we have. And then now we are going to print what is the variable addition variable is. So let's see what it prints, right? 101. And that is what most of the kids answer. Okay. So that's now you guys know, remember, right, how the function works. So last lecture, we were trying to learn something about the functions or last week we were trying to learn about some modules, right, or math functions. So you remember we were trying to learn, oh, what is the minimum max function, max, absolute, power. So you guys remember these things? What is these things? Okay, so minimum, maximum, these are built-in functions, right? So it's something like, oh, those are something like this, but somebody built those functions for us. Something like this is our function, and we are calling our function. Same way, the minimum, maximum, those are functions. So if I just like this, that day we were saying, oh, my minimum equal to min, and just like this, if I pass so if I pass this and then if I get this and print it, do you guys know what it will print? Forget about this part now. I'm just gonna comment that. But now you guys, if I use a minimum function, what it will print? So this mean is a function, something like what we are doing, right? So okay, let's run this and see what this function does. Similar to this, I think I'm gonna just put the text so that way you guys will know. Print minimum from function, right? And then so if I execute this, you guys, a lot of you guys, we are saying answer is 12, right? So let's see. Yeah, you can see print minimum from function. So it is printing 12. So that's what you guys understand now. What this means is just somebody wrote the function and we are using that function. So that somebody wrote this and it's available for us to use it. So now you guys understand, right? I mean, at least you guys understand. This mean is some built-in function. We wrote our own function to add numbers. Similar to that, this is a built-in function. There is another functions which we were saying built-in function like a max or absolute or power. Those are all built-in functions. Built-in means some developer who built this Python created that libraries and that library has that function. It's called absolute. If you go Google, we'll go Google to make sure you guys understand absolute ABS absolute value. That's what it says. So absolute value, you can see absolute or modulus of a real number. So I think I was explaining this one the other day. Remember what is absolute value of minus number? That's 3, right? Or whatever the number. So we remember absolute value, we were saying if this is the number line and this is the 0, you have on this side 1, this side 2, 3, 4. So this goes this side, and then on the left hand side you have -1, -2, -3, that way, right? So when you say absolute value, it's basically the distance between 0 and that number. So when I say 3, what is the absolute of this 3? Absolute of ABS of this, absolute of 3 is going to be 3 because there is a distance of 3, right, between these. And if I ask what is the absolute of -3, -3, it's again going to be the same, right? Because the distance between 0 and 3 is that 3. So this is also 3 and this is also 3. So technically, when you look at it, yeah, it is basically kind of taking a negative number, negative sign out of that. But there are functions, so we can try it out here. Absolute of 67 becomes my favorite number, looks like. So if I execute this, you guys can see absolute of -25 is printing as a 25, right? So that's the idea behind it. So anyway, going back, what we were talking about is built-in math functions. So those are some of the built-in math functions. There are others also. I think you guys might not be able to. So these are the built-in functions, but now you can see, oh, these are some of the functions, square root or ceiling or floor are external functions. I think, do you guys know square root? I think last week I showed you guys, or last class I showed you square root and power or ceiling. So those, I just wanted to show you what is those, but let's do these things. Mm, doesn't say so. So you guys know, like let's do 3 into 3. What we call, okay, what will be the answer? 3 into 3. Quick guys, I'm gonna type more of things here. Okay, so 9, right? And then 5 into 5 is what? 25. So we call multiplying the same number with same number, we are calling that as square, right? That's what we do. Oh, this is square of 2. So technically what we represent is 3 square. Or if this, what we are going to represent is 5 square, right? Right. So this is what we represent here. Now, when we say, oh, a square root, so that is like, that process is exactly the opposite. So when we say square root, the square root is presented like this, right? So when I say square root of 9, it's exactly the opposite process. What makes this number by multiplying two same numbers? So square root of 9 is 3, right? Square root of 25. So if I put 25 here, then square root of 25 is 5, right? I know if you say square root of 20, there is nothing gonna come out because we don't know, right? It's not a fully number. It's gonna be fractions. So that's something we just don't want to talk about it right now. But this process of square root is what available in a math library. So you can use the square root as a function and use it. But to use it, this square root function, we have to import some library. So what you can see, to use this absolute or minimum, you don't have to import anything. We did not call any import, right? Math function, we did not do any import at the start of the code. But use square root, we have to use it. So let me just show you guys here. This is what we are trying to learn, right? So this, if I copy this, it is gonna error out. So if I say, let's see, my square root, and I'm gonna print that my square root here. If I execute this, it's gonna say what it says. It says, oh, this is the error, but it says this, and the name of the error, math is not defined. So this math is not defined. So actually, what it's telling, oh, I need to import. So basically, import math. So if I do this, basically what I'm saying, oh, this math function or this math is a library somewhere outside, which I'm importing that. And then once I import, I can basically, whatever name I do, I'm going to go use that name and call the square root function. So now if I execute, you guys can see, oh, it prints square root of 64. So if you go, if I say, oh, square root of this, can you guys tell me what is the answer for this? Square root of 49. Is that correct? You guys can we take a minute and answer that, right? Right? It's square root of this 49 is square root of square root of 49 is a 7. So that's the reason it printed 7. So Anushka, to answer you, what are you actually doing with the import? I'm not doing anything with the import. Is the way you can import some other function or some other functionality and use that in your code. So previous to this, we were just looking at min and max, right? So the min and max, these functions are part of a built-in library. So already Python compiler or interpreter has built-in functions which you can use them as it is. But when somebody writes their own libraries, you can use their libraries in your code, because when I'm coding, when I go and code, I don't code everything. Some of my colleagues work, they do some work, I do some work, another colleague does another work, because the projects are big, not one person doing. It's like when you are building a four-story building, are you gonna do all work by yourself, or one person gonna do all work, like, oh, gathering all the cement, mixing it, then putting it on bricks one by one? All work can be done by one person, is Anushka, if you are building, right? So in that case, you hire different people, and different person does different work. The same way in a computer program, lot of people work together to make a project. So everybody does some other work. And if somebody doing some work, someone else doing some work, how do we get everybody's work together? Is like this import functionality. Import is the way to do it. So somebody writes a code to search some something, and somebody is using that code and display that code. It is going to be little tricky to know why we do this, but yes, it's like when you work in a team, that is what you will be using, and that's where I think I am going to explain you, how that import thing works. So that way you can see now we imported math library. So that's the way you can go and use that function into it. And now I was, as I was saying, oh, can we try this? Right? If I say square root of 10 or 20, what is it going to answer? You can see square root of this is in a fraction, right? So you have some full, and then you have some fractions here. So this function will do whatever it can to find out. Okay, Deepika, what is that 10 for? You want to try square root of 10? You can try this. The square root of 10 is this. So idea behind these other libraries or modules is that someone else is doing some coding and we are using that code. How do you do it? Is, I guess that is another part which I wanted to show you guys, but wait, maybe we will do it in next class, because just knowing there is external functions or external math functions which are in a math module. So these external modules which we use, this import, are called modules or libraries. And you can do the import to use them. So it is a similar way. This is math library. There is, if you go next slide, there is a date time library where you can find date time related functions. So if you want to print something date, so let's do this while you guys are here. I'm gonna take out, okay, today's date. If I say this, so date time has, okay, you can see as soon as I copy here, it says, oh, a reference is not there. So I need to go and import that date time, right? date time. So date time, when I import, date time has a function called now. So it is going to give me the date time stamp of now. Print date time. And if I print, it is always going to give me, let's just run this and see what happens. So if you run, when I do the now, this basically gets date timestamp of current timestamp. So you can see at my place it is 8:23. So it basically shows, oh, this is gonna get me exact that time. Now it is 8:23. Just few seconds back it was 8:22, 52 seconds and milliseconds. If I run this again, you will see now it is 8:23, 18 seconds. So it gets me the date timestamp of current current timestamp of my system. And this is very critical when usually we write programs. Sometimes we want to get exact timestamp when user has done some action, right? So it's like something you go open your bank account or you log into your bank. So that timestamp you want to capture, right? And so you see the history on your bank account. This is what the timestamp use to fetch those timestamp functionality. So you can see, let's go back. So this is, I'm going to get current timestamp, but oh, I want to create a date time of something else, then you can specify those things. So instead of doing this, now if I want something else, I can specify here, oh, okay, let's see, I lost the format. What is the format? You can basically put it in this format, year, date, and time. So this will create date time of this timestamp. So now if I print, it's not going to print today's date. It's going to print this timestamp. So let's see what it prints. So you can see it printed whatever the timestamp I am asking it to create. So basically, when I can use it, I can do this two ways. So just to tell you guys, let's do two things. And my specific date. What happens is, let's do this way. So that way you know now, right? So, and then if I say date diff, today's date minus my specific date. And if I print that, then you will know what is I'm talking about. Print difference. So that way you will know what I'm talking about. So what we are doing is taking current timestamp and creating another timestamp, and then I'm subtracting my specific timestamp from today's timestamp, and then I'm gonna display that. So let's see what it prints for you guys. So what it says is the day for it printed. Oh, we need a minus. Okay. So you can see what happens is I got the two timestamp, right? And then when I subtract, I got how many days the difference is. So this is easier way to do the date difference. So it can tell me that, oh, within these 2 days, there is this much difference. So if I'm trying to find out the date difference between the 2 days, like, oh, January 26 and November 25, you can just go and do this kind of things and you will get the date difference. You don't have to count like, oh, January 26, then February 26, then this, that way, right? You don't have to do all those. This kind of things is very easily done with this kind of functions. Does that make sense to you guys? I know, Anushka, that you are having some question, but that's not important. The important part is this. So you guys, if you understand this, then we will go with your question. Mansi, Deepika, I think you guys are there. Mansi has not here. She left. Looks like. I think Vineet and I think it's gonna be very difficult. But can you guys? Do you guys understand? I think Deepika is saying yes. Mhm. What about you, Anushka? Do you understand what I'm trying to explain here? How the date difference works? Okay. So idea is using those functions. These functions are not available in a Python. Somebody wrote this code and now you can see use of this, right? Okay. So now going back, Aryan will, okay. Let me answer Anushka's question. What is your question, Anushka? What is the format of date time? Format of date time is the date time, right? I don't understand your question, but you can see if we just print date, it prints in. If I just print this, I'm just gonna print those two dates, and that way you can um, be specific on what do you mean by. So if I execute, the first two things will be the date, right? So this is today's date, and this is what I'm doing it. So it's like year, month, and day. It's it currently it is showing in that format because I'm in the US, right? So US follows this YYY MMDD. But if you are doing it in India, I think if you sell it, it will go in different fashion. That we write date is like we write day first, then month, and then year. So it can go in any fashion, and you can format that. It's MMDDYY, or you can do YYY MMDD. So it is all you can format, and that formatting is all depends on cultures or where you can specify that, and that's I think usually that's very minor thing compared to what the concept of this date time is. Going back to Prathamesh or Deepika, okay, what you don't understand the difference, okay, that's good thing. You don't understand what is the difference, okay, that's good. So, Deepika, if I ask you, hey, Deepika, tell me the difference. Oh, I want to get the difference from. Get me difference. I think today we can stay late, right? So get me number of days from Feb 14 to March uh, 14. So 14 is not good. March 26. Uh, 26. If I ask you, what you are gonna do, Deepika? You know March 14 to sorry, Feb 14 to March 14 is going to be 28 days or 28, right? You will calculate it, right? So you're going to go, that, and then there will be 12 more days. So that means, it might be 42 days. But, leap year and this thing, all you are going to do the calculation, right? If it is a leap year, that things, you will go and do the calculation. But how you can use a computer to do that? So what you can do, tell it here, instead of this, now I'm going to go and tell that what do you call, like, 2021, you want to say February, right? So you will say, 1 second, and then 14, and then here 2021, I said March, and March 26. So if I do this, So these two dates are there, and this is just like your math function, right? One number subtracted by another. So that's what you are going to get it. So actually here we are putting the specific date here first, right? So I think we need to do this and this way. And I'm not changing the name because I just want to make confuse you guys confused little more. The date difference is how that works, right? So let's get number of days from, what did it say? Get number of days from, where it is? Oh, this one. Okay. I cannot type something here, right? Oops. I'm just commenting this code so that way you guys will know. So you can see, oh, it says 14 days, right? So these all gonna do the calculation by considering everything. So you can see, oh, this in a 2021, it's 14 days. But if I just say, oh, let's do the 2022, 2020 was a leap year, was it? So if I do 2020 2020 difference, then you guys know, oh, it is 41 days because the year was a leap year, right? So it does this all calculation, and this is what the date time is. Actually, this calculation is not what that library is. The library is about managing this date time with this date time object. Okay, and what is the last question? I think I will just saying, oh, I didn't understand print difference. This is just the print is a text. So that's what I'm saying. This is the text what we are printing here. So don't worry. I'm the your class. This is your first class, so that's the reason you don't understand. But this is just printing the text, so you understand what I'm trying to print. If I just print this, it is not going to make much informative. So usually, if you are putting some different text or label, that is more informative. So this basically tells you, oh, what we are trying to print. Has nothing to do with actual difference. So do you understand, Tulja, now? This has nothing to do with that actual difference. This is just some text I want to print. Like oh, this is result. If I say, if this is a result, so that is what it is going to tell you. This is just a result. So that way you basically know what we are printing. Right? So, okay. So you guys are late today. Go. We will try to cover that next topic. But for Tulja and Anushka, you both seems very attentive and asking questions. So I will suggest this is a good attitude. You're asking question and telling me that, oh, I don't understand, and all those things. That's a good attitude. Okay. But now the next part for you is maybe you go and see all those recorded classes. That way it will help you for the next class, because it's understanding and those things, it should help you from the next class. I'm going to stop recording and you guys are good to go.